going to call this committee of the Land Use and Transportation Committee, or this meeting to order. Um, Roll call, everyone is here other than member Wachinski. First item is the approval of the minutes, April 5th, 2022. Motion to approve those minutes. Member Rogel, second. Member Klein. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is payment of bills and transfers. We don't have any transfers, so you should have had those emailed to you. Is there any questions on any of those bills? I'll entertain a motion to pay those first. Member Friedrich, second. Member Bell. So again, there were a number of bills. I perused them. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. So we're going to approve the bills both for the Transportation Committee and the Land Use Committee. I mean, they're both one committee, but they're two different sets of bills. So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Those bills be paid. Any appearances by members of the public? You?
That's
ma'am?
me. No, Chairman, we do not
All right.
have any requests.
Thank you. So the first item then is 5A1 under departmental matters. It's request approval of a motor fuel tax and matching tax resolution for the Holder Road, County Road 25, and I would entertain a motion. Member Thompson, is that a motion? Member Friedrich is second. All right, Jerry, you want to lead us on that?
Sure, thank you, Chairman. So this is a project we're going to do some pavement preservation on with some microsurfacing, and it kind of corresponds to, we've done a couple of these projects the last 2 years with doing this type of work, and it's been really improved on that. Or we like to present this microsurfacing product, and so it also corresponds with the township. Dawson Township is directly south of here, and they're going to do a section on their road as well. And then a couple other townships in Lexington and Chenoa are going to do a road. So we'll have this letting all at once here at the end of May, and hopefully they'll complete it yet this year.
And the resolution showing 25,000 from motor fuel tax and 200,000 from the matching fund, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And is that what your estimate of the total will be for that project?
Yeah, we're thinking right around 200,000. Put a little cushion in there for our engineering and for in case it does go over, since the price of materials and all that's gone up. So we're not sure where we're going to be in that, but kind of looked at what last year's bid and added 10 to 15% on top of that.
Okay. Any questions? And this is a case where you don't mill the surface, you just put this on the top?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it kind of fills in the cracks. There'll be two passes that go across. It'll do one pass and then come back the next day or a couple days afterwards and put the second pass on it.
And so you probably just go, like, close one lane at a time, you don't have to close the road completely?
Right. Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay then, no questions, ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is 5AB, request approval of a bridge construction petition for riprap installation at the Bandsaw Bridge in the Martin Road District. Someone want to make that motion? Member Thompson, second. Member Klein. All right, Jerry?
So back in April of 2021, we brought the engineering agreements through with HLR to start working on these projects, and just kind of give a little refresher. So you can here's a picture of what we consider what scour is. And so when we get heavy rains like last night, and certain bridges, depending on the soil that's underneath the bridges, when they hit the piers, they cause a scour hole. And so over time, that scour hole gets deeper and deeper, and pretty soon it could actually undermine the bridge. And so what these projects will do is put riprap all the way around the pier and the abutments to prevent the scour. And I'll show you some pictures here of here. First off, so the piers. So you can see like this. This project here has 4 piers. And so we're gonna riprap like probably 10 foot all the way around this pier to protect it. And it'll be like 3 foot deep, the riprap will. And then we'll also riprap the, going up towards the abutments, which is this column right here. And so to protect the slopes, because there's a lot of erosion that happens there. And so here's some other pictures. So this is the picture from Martin Township. And so you can see right here, this is where the scour's occurring, behind the abutment and in front. And so you can kind of see there's, scouring on the bank itself. We're not doing anything with the bank. You can see underneath the abutments it's starting to erode away. And then you can see kind of here where this has all been just basically cut off. So pretty soon there's not going to be anything left there. And so we put this gauge. So this bridge is what they classify as scour critical. So anytime that we have a flood event where it gets up above this red line, we actually have to go out and check the scour. And so we go out and measure. We get down there at the piers and measure how much worse it's gotten since the last storm or since the last time we had done this. So we kind of keep an eye on it. And but with the Rebuild Illinois funds, these two townships wanted to use their Rebuild Illinois funds to take care of these put these scour countermeasures in place and prevent anything from happening to the bridge itself. So there's just another picture. This is the first ones were in Martin Township, a little bit north of Colfax. This one here is what they call the Moores Mill Bridge, which is down near McLean. And so McLean's you get down that area with Sugar Creek. It's a lot of sandy soils down there, and so that's where we have a lot of issues down there with scour. We did a bridge on the County Highway 59 there between Stanford and McLean, which is upstream from this structure. I want to say like in 2010, maybe, and we put riprap and scour countermeasures in at that time. And you can see what else causes. So here's like where we have debris that piles up. And so if the idea is if we get that riprap outside of the piers, then that debris won't build up near as bad as what we're seeing like in these pictures here. And this was after last year's flood event, I think in June, I believe. So anyway, this is what we're actually approving today is the petitions for the two projects with the townships. And so these are going to be 50-50 projects, and we're estimating about $200,000 a piece. And the road commissioners are going to use most of the Rebuild Illinois funds to pay for their half of the project, and then we'll use our county bridge funds to pay for the other half.
So since these were two items, I guess I could have combined them. I don't know whether it would be proper for the motion maker to do that and the seconder. Okay. All right. So we're gonna vote on both of those. So, all right. I'm sorry, Member Friedrich.
Jerry, how many bridges do we have in the, one, that the county is liable for, and two, how many is in the entire county?
So we have 380 bridges.
Three. That,
in the county, and the county is liable for 87. So 293 township bridges. And so then a bridge is anything over 20 feet. This is what's considered a bridge. Any structure, whether it's a box culvert or a bridge that has a 20-foot span, is considered a bridge.
what was that number again? The big number, 300 and
380.
400. Gee. That's a lot of bridges.
Member Thompson.
So I assume you put riprap up underneath the bridge deck, right?
Yes.
How do you get it up there?
Well, it's
Is it one piece at a time by?
Boots in the show.
almost.
There's no shovel on riprap.
So we do it. So our maintenance crews do this on a lot of times, and they do a real good job. We actually made extensions for our backhoe. So it's like from here, from like here to this first table, And so then it's like a pusher, and it's almost like a mini snowplow. And so that goes on our backhoe and we get it in place and allows us to push it up there where we need to go. Sometimes we might get like a mini excavator or skid loader or something underneath there. These are actually going to be contracted out because since it's a lot of water work, and they're going to have to build a pad to get all the material down there and placed all around. So it's going to be a fairly big job to do these. But we've done like just maintenance on other township bridges or our own bridges where we've just done the abutments sides of them.
Yeah, that's not so bad, but placing under that, thanks.
How many bridges do we have of the 380 that are at risk of scouring?
So that's a good question. So I think we have like 6 that are scour critical, and so these 2 are the worst that we found that are just kind of find more and more erosion over the years. The other ones we have, we monitor them, but they're not near as critical as what these 2 are.
I have a question.
Member Bell, go ahead.
Oh, it's on. Okay. The first photos were of the bridge was 4/23/14. Do you have any current photos? Because you're talking about a number of years, and then those pictures are probably worse now than they were in 14.
Yeah, I believe we do have some other pictures. Yeah, this is March of 2020 here on this one. So that was the first bridge. That was just, I don't have a picture of that. That was 2013. That was just for the abutments when we showed that. I think like this one, there's no date. I just know it was after the flood of last year because we had done that. There's another picture in here, just kind of on different. It was kind of the same, maybe a couple days later, so that you can still see. Oh no, that's 2013. I probably do have some other pictures. I don't have them on readily available. I could find them for you and email them to you.
That would be great. The other thing is I noticed that there is no weight limit signs posted. I'm quite sure they can't be really enforced out in the rural areas, but is there a weight limit? Like, is semis going over these bridges or heavy tractor equipment?
Yes, yeah. There's no weight limit on the 2 bridges themselves. So there's weight limits on the roads, especially during the spring posting periods. And but there's nothing wrong structurally with these bridges. It's just we're trying to prevent scour and make sure that the bridges stay intact with these projects.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Okay, then we're ready to vote, and again, it's both B and C. All those in favor say aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Next item is 5AD, request approval of a motor fuel tax resolution for the Springtown Road, County Highway 32. Who wants to make that motion? Member Friedrich? Second. Member Klein. All right, Jerry?
So this project is actually not till 2024, but the idea that we want to get the environmental and all the phase 1 approved ahead of time, and what we're hoping for is maybe if there's a grant opportunity that comes up next year, like there has been this year, that this could be a good project that we would have ready to go, and then we could apply for the grant, and we would have phase 1 approved. So that's kind of what we're thinking is maybe here at the end of the summer we'll start working on this, get phase 1 approved, and then if they follow the same grant cycle, there's different the IGA grants that are out there with the federal governments. they need to have phase one approved, and they almost need to be shovel ready. So we thought we'd get this kind of going and gear towards that way. And if not, then we'll look at just funding it as we had planned. But at least we'd have the option there of submitting a grant if the time arose.
Questions?
So I guess I'll say a little bit about the project. So the project goes from Stanford to Covell, and so we'll part of it's going to be just a mill and fill resurfacing project, and then the second part is going to be a cold in place recycling that we've done numerous times, where we till up the road and inject the oil, and then we'll put hot mix over the top of that. So it'll be an 80,000-pound road when it's all said and done, and it'll be that'll make an 80,000 pounds all the way from Stanford to Route 66. Then, so that'll be a good.
So
good
where is
deal.
this in relationship to the gravel pits that are out there? Is this
So
west of those?
it's west of the
Okay.
gravel pits.
Although there's still, I assume there's still gravel truck traffic on that road if they happen to be going west. But if
Right.
they're going back towards old 66 or whatever, they wouldn't be on this particular
Correct,
stretch.
yes.
Okay.
But this road is also posted during the springtime, so then it would kind of make a good connection for everything to be 80,000 pounds. And the bridge that we're doing right now on Stringtown Road is right in the middle of this project, so we'll get that bridge done, and then hopefully in 2024 we'll be able to do the road then.
Okay. Questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 5AE, request approval of a bridge construction petition for joint culvert replacement number 1, Drive Grove Road District. Motion? Member Rogel, second. Member Thompson. All right, Jerry?
So this is a project that we looked at doing last year. I think during those June floods that we had just water went over the road here, and the kind of the bank started sloughing off or started eroding. So then so we had to go in there, or the township went in there and put some dirt, and there's a lot going on there. There's a drop box and a couple tiles, and the pipes not in the best shape. So or actually it's a drop box. So we're gonna just replace it all and raise the pipe up, redo the tile, and make everything a little bit wider than what it is now. And so we looked at it and got it surveyed this winter, and so we're gonna put a 36-inch round culvert in here. It's costly because we're gonna be digging about 13 foot deep to access the tile and get those run across the road. So it's going to be a big hole with a lot of backfill, and but this will be a good project. We're going to rip wrap the whole downstream end to protect the water, or to slow down the water as it enters the downstream property.
So by looking at the map, I don't know what kind of traffic count it is, but it looks like obviously you'll have to close that road for a while.
We will, yeah, probably a couple weeks. There is a subdivision there a little bit to the north that there's a way out. It's going to be a few more turns and
Right.
a little bit more around, but there's I don't know the name of the subdivision, but there's a subdivision up there. It's got a fair amount of houses that probably use this route, but they're just going to be inconvenienced for a couple weeks while this gets done.
Yeah, if you happen to live right in the middle of that section, it's going to be kind of a pain, but not necessarily distance, just a lot of curves.
Correct.
And that. So okay. Anybody have any questions on this one? Okay, if not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next item, 5AF, request approval of a bridge construction petition for joint culvert replacement number 1 in the Gridley Road District. Who would like to make that motion? Member Klein? Who would like to second? Member Bell? All right, Jerry?
So this is on the county line in Gridley Township, and so the county line road is a road that he's looking to the road commissioner is looking to redo, or at least widen out and make it wider and redo it and redo the gravel and everything. And so we started looking at all the culverts along here, and this is one that we found that needed to be replaced. And so there's two culverts in this location. We're gonna put everything down to one culvert and add a couple manholes in there to help direct the ditch water into the manholes, and then allow the water to go across the road that way. Um, so um, so the total cost on this is going to be $16,000 to put the 30-inch culvert in, along with two 4-foot diameter manholes on either side of the road.
Any questions? Member Bell?
Just one manhole? How many?
Two.
Two.
Two,
Okay.
yep, one on the north side and one on the south side of the road.
Thank you.
And it looks like this is a short distance out of the city limits?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
all
It
right.
should probably only be like a 1-day job or something like that. But this is kind of one of his busier roads. It goes, a lot of the students travel this road from Gridley to El Paso. And so he's just wanting to make it a little safer here next year. And so he's going to do it in a couple sections. I think he's going to do a mile and a half or so next year, and then maybe another mile and a half the year after that.
Okay. Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So that is the end of our action items. So Jerry, you want to lead us in the project summaries?
Sure. So I got a few pictures of some of these over the last month or so. So this is on the Brand 2 bridge, which is on Stringtown Road, a couple miles east of Stanford. And this bridge is like in the middle of the project that we just approved. And so this is when they basically just started getting ready to remove the bridge. So they got a hi-ho on the bridge with a hammer on the end. And so basically they just start pounding on the bridge and getting it all out of there, or it falls down and they dig it all out after that. But you can kind of see the rebar, how much rebar is in there and everything. So this another picture of this, of them just hammering. They start in the middle and just kind of work their way back from one side to the other. So there's kind of a bigger picture here of as they're going along. And then here is you can see the bridge is entirely removed, and so see all the rebar and everything in there. So then they come back and they get in the channel, and then they take all the piers and the pier caps and everything out. So there's another picture of that. And then here's what they were starting to do last couple days or so, was driving the pile for the new structure. And so this is a guy up here that's actually welding, or actually I think he's just putting the hammer in place for the new pile. But you can see there's been a couple pile that's already been driven there. There's just kind of picture of the crane that's driving the pile. And here's kind of a better picture, so you can kind of see. So this is a hammer that's driving the pile down, and then here's the pile that have been inserted already. So you can see. I'll try to zoom in here a little bit. So these are like 60-foot piles, and so they'll probably be cut off, somewhere around the 50-foot mark to drive it in there, or after they were driven in there. And what we do is the hammer goes up so high, and so we count the number of blows that it takes to go down a foot, and so then we keep track of that. And then once it gets so far down, or doesn't move, then we said that we've hit bearing, and we've hit basically as far as we could go. So these are going in about. I think the test pile, you can kind of see right in here where this was like a 60-foot pile, and they had to weld on a 20-foot piece, I believe, and then they pounded it in some more. So that happens from time to time, but it looks like these are 60-footers, and so they'll be about right when we cut them off, probably 8 to 10 foot or so. And so they've only, with the weather, they haven't really been able to get a lot of decent production. This is on the first pier, And so then they still got to do 2 abutments and the second pier yet to do. So there'll probably still be a few more weeks just driving pile on this structure.
What are they made of? The,
Steel.
right,
Steel.
yeah, I know. Like, it's not solid, it's like hollow.
It is hollow. Yeah, they're I want to say maybe like 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick. So we'll pound them in there, and then we'll put rebar over these, and then encase them in concrete.
So like 10, 12 inches diameter, I guess.
Yeah, these are 12 inches.
Thank
So then the next project is the Meadows Road resurfacing project, and this is going from PJ Keller to the Turkey Creek Bridge, so it's like 1.25 miles long. This project, they just put the surface on Friday, and so and then they did some incidental work yesterday. So really, all they have left to do is put the shoulders down, and this job's complete. So we'll get one job done for this year, and then the second job is the dirt job that's just north of this. And so do have some pictures of that. So this is the reconstruction project that we're doing, and so with all in between all the rains and all the other stuff, the contractor does actually have about a mile worth of the dirt work done as far as the ditches go. And so you kind of can see here, this is probably about a mile south of Route 24. And so they've regraded the ditches and started kind of building the core of the road. They just got some pipe delivered, so they'll start putting some of the crossroad pipe in. We've went in and trenched like around all the culverts to try to find all the fuel tile that were there, so we can address those as we're putting in the crossroad culverts. They've milled up, so this is a 5.5 mile long job. They've milled up about 2.5 miles of the actual road itself. So it's pretty hard. There's a few soft spots in there, but they're basically just running on the old road bed. There's just kind of another picture of the ditch, regraded ditch. So everything got moved out about 10 feet from the original ditch. And so just a couple pictures. So said if they could just get some more than one day of sunshine, we might be making some headway. But they're kind of working in the mud as they go along, but it seems to be moving pretty well. So
So this is the project that we're getting like $4 million from the state. The governor was here a couple
Yes.
months ago. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, this is the rebuild, $4 million to rebuild Illinois funds, and then $2.5 million from the Blooming Grove Wind Farm, and then the rest is getting made up with MFT.
Okay.
And then the last project is White Oak Road. I don't have anything to show for that. Just letting you know that the contractor is Row Construction, and they're planning on starting May 16th. And that's going to go from Locust Street in Bloomington all the way out to the Danvers Uten elevator. And so they're going to come in and do some patching. We got like 90 patches to do of different old pavement joints, because this was an old state route that was concrete underneath it, and it's been overlaid. So we're going to try to take care of the patching, and then we'll come in and mill off the existing surface and the part of the patches, and then put a new surface on.
So the railroad runs parallel to that. Does it cross that White Oak Road anywhere?
No, there is a private line that crosses Midwest Fiber, but that isn't really going to have any concern on
Okay.
our project or anything. So
Okay.
there's just a lot of busy intersections there at Martin Luther King and College Avenue. So there'll be a lot of coordination there, and there might be some traffic backed up there on occasion.
So when you do that, do you put new stoplight equipment that you put below the pavement or in the pavement? Do you do that also at the time?
So
You know what I'm referring to?
I'll let Luke speak to that, because he's been talking. We've been working with the city of Bloomington on that.
So I'd say normally, yes. However, more recently in the last 5, 10 years, we're trying to get away from detector loops. So trying not to put in the loops in the pavement for the reason that when we go to mill and fill the job, we still have to go put those back. So there's other forms of detection. There's microwave detection and then video. So I've been working with the city of Bloomington on updating those to, I believe, video detection out there. So they're gonna probably switch theirs out here in late May. So once that's done, then we won't have to worry about anything else in the pavement.
Okay, will that be up to the city to pay for that, or is that our dime?
That'll be through our maintenance.
Okay,
So our joint agreement to maintain these signals.
okay, all right. Any questions? All right. Do you have any more updates?
No, there's a couple other, I guess the oil and chip contractor might be in starting May 16th as well. As far as they'll probably start on the Blooming Grove wind farm work and kind of work their way around the county. So they'll be starting on that work. And then I think they just started pouring the first foundation on the Sapphire Sky wind farm here this week. So, or yesterday. So that's moving along as well.
Okay. Anything else for Jerry? First, Member Klein.
So I have a sort of a series of questions, and I'm going to sort of start with you. We're in the other phase, right, down on our agenda.
Well, we can be. I mean, I was going to mention a couple things with zoning, but that's fine. You can go ahead.
Yeah,
We're talking to Jerry, so that's
so
good.
mine also has, I guess, to do with the zoning board. So I have some general questions. Mr. Dick isn't here to be able to answer them about the new solar farm that's being proposed, that's going straight to the ZBA for the special permit. Have they asked you to testify or talk about the solar farms and their impact on roads and transportation? Is there the same kind of impact on roads and transportation as there are for the wind farms when you talk about solar?
So no, the impact is not as significant. There's really no impact because a lot of the loads are under 80,000 pound loads. So there will, and the way I understand it is they're going to be accessing this property from the township road. So the township's going to have to give them an access, and also they're going to have a road use agreement with the township as well to basically cover any damages that are going to need to be done and spell out the weight limits that are on the roads during the springtime and stuff like that. So on the previous one that we did in Downs, we kind of went that similar route, and we actually ended up having a road use agreement with that particular company as well because they were using some county roads, but they were already 80,000 pound roads. So we didn't have any issues. It was basically just to cover any if they did damage the road for whatever reason. But the roads were the total amount of loads and stuff is real light. It's almost like they're bringing in just a load of lumber, let's say, and then they're pounding in almost like guardrail posts. There will be some concrete work, I think, but I think it's minimal. So there's not a significant impact to the roads.
Okay, so the impact isn't as great, but there will still have to be some agreements with townships.
Yes, yeah, and
For
we've
road
already
use,
and
and
we
we're good.
have been in discussion with Mr. Dick and the Dale Township Road Commissioner as well, and kind of gave him a I guess a draft of the road use agreement that we had previously had with the previous solar farm.
So I just have questions about sort of how this is being aggregated in the sense that we as a committee are not being asked to weigh in or discuss or hear about the solar project at all at this point. It's going from ZBA directly to the county board. This is for the special use permit, right? So it's not, I guess, the actual permission for the construction. Is that correct? So we'll see that on the next time around.
It'll come to full board.
So this committee will never
That we
see
will
that project.
if we end up if a condition of the special use and there could be, I guess, depending on how they route to this site. I mean, they could be using a county road to route to the site, and as a condition with the ZBA as part of the special use permit, there could be a road use agreement with the county as well. And so then that would be brought forward to brought forward to this committee. If they're going to use like city routes or township roads to access the site, then we really wouldn't have anything to do as far as the county roads go. We would just be an advisement to
Right.
the township at that time.
So the full board is being asked to approve a permit before we have seen the plans for transportation and agreements in this committee? That's my question. I feel it, my feeling, I mean, so that's a question I wanted to hear from you. I'm not putting anything on you because you're sort of an advisement to this whole thing. I just feel as though the committee's been a little bit inroaded a little bit, that this is not coming to us at all. Any discussions about this special permit, it has not come to us. And I assumed that it would come to us because it's land use and there are road agreements. So I'm just a little confused. So I wanted to ask the road agreement question in this point. But since Mr. Dick isn't here, I can't ask him a question about the other half. So, but we can put that on pause and let Jerry answer other road-related, transportation-related questions.
I'd say you can go ahead and ask your questions. Again, Ms. Taylor might have an answer or.
Right, I just don't want to take up,
Oh.
Jerry's spot on the agenda. I just don't understand why it is that it's going straight to ZBA without any advisement of this committee, which is about land use. And it's going straight to the board.
That's our policy, so
For,
our
that's
code.
for the permit.
Mhm.
But the permits, we're asked as a board to approve a permit before we've seen sort of the full impact of the construction and the road use and things like that. It's just a bit confusing to me. I understand that at some point we will be asked.
I think the way that I understand it is a special use permit, they'll be conditioned with a special use, and before they're allowed to get a building permit, then all these things have to be in place as far as the road use agreements and any
Right.
other environmental or any other permits they need will have to be done before a building permit will be issued for this project.
Okay, so the ZBA is only considering whether they can start making the plans.
Correct.
Yeah, I think.
It's just that, it's in the media, it's all over the local media, and I sort of assumed it would be somewhere in our packet. And when it wasn't in the packet, I was just a little confused about that fact.
I think,
So
I
thank
think
you for the
part of it is they want to make sure they're allowed to do it to start with before they, before they do a lot of other legwork, as you said,
So we can
site plan and all that stuff. So
So
I
we can
think,
condition our concerns as they get those site plans and.
right. And again, any member has an opportunity to speak tonight. Actually, I was going to mention tonight at 7 o'clock, I believe, is the ZBA hearing.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, we've got graduation things
right,
and other
right.
things going. But this is, I'm very in favor of the solar project. I just sort of had a question about the procedure because there are interested parties and I don't know at what point.
I think
You
it's still
have the chance.
preliminary in that phase.
Yeah, okay.
So special use comes first. ZBA will ask questions about road use agreements as well. They have in other projects with wind farms.
Right.
And then Phil Dick would be much better to answer this question as far as process and standard operating procedures of what comes first. But I think we're still, sometimes the media gets excited about a new article and we're not that far along in the
Not that far
process.
along. Yeah, and then the question, Jerry, was this company has not had the same track record as our wind farms with not paying fines and things like that, correct? Because this is the same solar company that has another project in the county, correct? And they don't have the same kind of background as we've had with other wind.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's all right. I was going to say, so anything else for Jerry?
Have you heard any complaints with the wind farm that's going in Bellflower? Any concerned citizenry out there? Any problems, any issues?
Actually, not. We've had one dust complaint when they were hauling a bunch of gravel on the roads, but that's all I've heard about that's come to our office anyway. So they're they've had I think they have over half the roads pulverized and gravelled at this point. So they got all the culverts in place, so the road closures should be minimal now. They've strengthened some of the culverts. They just need some dry weather to get some dirt to hold in the gravel and that type of thing. But I mean, they're actually moving along, and I really haven't had too many issues we've had to address.
Has administration heard any complaints?
We have had 0 complaints to administration.
If you get any complaints, would you share them with me?
Yes.
Okay. When I first got on the board, Chairman McIntyre, we had an issue with the wind towers up at Lexington, and we took a drive. So if there are any, I want to be ahead of it rather than behind.
So I have two questions. One, we actually farm down a lot. I've been traveling those roads. They've got about 8 inches of white rock on top, and it's like,
No shoulders.
what's the final process? Are they gonna grade that off? They gonna bring the shoulders up to that, or? Because right now, looks like the surface is pretty well flat. I didn't know if they'd kind of crown it off and roll the edges off, or.
No, I
what
think
is
they're
it?
gonna do it, probably have two different operations going. One, they're gonna like, take some of the dirt from the front slope or clean out the ditch and then add that material from the ditch up to the shoulder to hold the rock in, or they're gonna have to bring in additional dirt to hold that rock in.
Yeah, it's, you gotta be on your A game when you're taking the sprayer down the road, because you get off the edge of the.
Right. We've mentioned numerous times in our weekly meetings that they need to get going, but I mean, I understand with the just no dry dirt, nothing.
Yeah, there is one other, there's a section, so you know where Glen Avenue is, there's a stop sign there, where Glen Avenue. No.
Yes.
I think it's, 3,500. Stop sign at the Leroy Road, so if going north, there's a mile of gravel, and then there's a half a mile of pavement still normal or original. And then there's a bridge up over a drainage district. And then just on the opposite side of that ditch is gravel again. And there's no additional signage. My concern is, and I've done this because you get going down the regular road and then you don't realize it's gravel. You come up over that bridge and you hit this loose gravel with another major drainage ditch, right? Like 10 feet off the edge. Some additional signage there would probably be warranted, because I've done it twice now, and it's like every time it's like, holy cow.
Sure. Well,
Sections like that where there's transitions.
Right.
And I'm sure that, I'm pretty sure there's signs at the stop sign back on, whatever the Leroy Blacktop County Road that is. Just says gravel, but then again, when you make that transition back, people
Right.
get the assumption that it's that way all the way, and it's not. And like I say, the biggest problem is you come up over this bridge and onto the other side, onto loose gravel, and
yeah, so we'll have,
it's very dangerous.
we have weekly meetings with the wind farm construction folks, and so
Yeah.
we can bring that up tomorrow and have them put some additional signage up.
That would be, I just pointed that one out because that's the one I've.
Sure,
I've
yeah, and we'll
traveled,
look
but
to see if there's
anytime
any
where
other,
you transition from
I think,
in a unique situation, and that's because there's towers on the north side of the bridge, so they've worked on that side of the road, but that section there will be no work on it, and so they didn't obviously they haven't done anything to it, but yeah,
yeah, I think it was one of those, the bridge, the heavy traffic and loads couldn't cross that bridge there, so then,
yeah, probably not.
and
Yeah,
so
I'm
then
sure
they had to come in from both ways.
but yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, thanks.
Member Friedrich?
You're doing a good job on those flashing stop signs. I see them popping up around the county.
Oh, good, yeah.
I was just curious, I would have thought they would have been red rather than yellow. Point one, and at the actual stop signs, I thought those would be flashing red, but they're not.
No, we started with the stop aheads first.
Okay.
And so those are warning signs that basically have to be yellow. And so we, our thought was, well, if they're not going to see the stop ahead, they're not going to see the stop signs. And then plus, when you get on some of those state routes, those are actually maintained by the state. So then it gets into a little bit more.
Jurisdiction,
Yes,
legal.
right. So we just wanted
Throw
to.
some weight on them, the state. They should be flashing red too.
I agree.
So, how's the progress report on that? You half done with the flashing stoplights? Or-
Actually, I think we're like all done, but maybe 10 to 15. Yeah.
Good
So
job.
yeah, they could do about 10 a day, they said. So they put up, we had 90 of them total, and so we'll probably put up 75 to 80, maybe low 80s, and at least have a couple held back in just case something happens to some of those. I'm hoping nothing gets vandalized, and they don't get in that, they don't get hit, or if they do get hit, they're still usable, that type of stuff. So we figured we'd try it and see how it worked.
Anything else for Jerry? All right. So, then obviously under the Mr. Dick Building Zoning, he's not here. There was no action items, but again, I wanted to mention to everyone about the ZBA hearing tonight in this room at 7, with the wind farm. So, all right, Ms. Taylor, you're up now. I'm sorry, solar farm. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Chairman Solner. I do not have any items to present for action, but in information, C2, I would like to just recognize and acknowledge Jerry and Luke for their assistance with 2 items that will be going to other committees this month, and that's the parking lot resurfacing for Metcom and for the east parking lot here at the Government Center. So we have those coming for action this month, and Jerry and his staff have been instrumental in getting that project completed. They're going to other committees because one will go to facilities and one will go to executive because it's using ARPA funds. And so ARPA funds follow under administration. And so I just wanted to make this committee aware of that and thank them for their work.
All right. Does any member have anything else? Okay. Next meeting, our next committee meeting will be next month, Tuesday, the June 7th. With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.